Welcome, Mr. Dome, and welcome to this crypto update. Now, currently, as you can see, the plan is basically playing out perfectly. We had a touch of this high here, and I do expect another touch of this high here to basically go back to this trend line here, and from there a pullback and eventually a breakout. That plan is still intact. But the reason I'm making this video is because Donald Trump has now revealed his master plan for crypto. And that has to do with centralizing crypto like we have never seen before. And I will have a bunch of other news also in this video, but let me actually go to the meat and talk about the big update. So World Liberty Financial, which is the Donald Trump crypto project, they are now launching a stablecoin called USD1. And this is very important for two reasons. Number one, this will bring liquidity to crypto, which means that we will most likely have another bull run. That is the good side. The downside is that this will create massive centralization, and this will basically centralize the power in the hands of Donald Trump. So let me actually go through this blog post here and explain all of these details. So as they say here, this project is inspired by President Donald J. Trump, which is a massive understatement because both Donald Trump's sons are involved with World Liberty Financial, Eric Trump and Donald Trump Jr. I don't know if Baron Trump is part of it. I don't know about that, but at least Eric and Donald Trump Jr. are part of it. USD1 will be 100% backed by short-term US government treasuries, US dollar deposits, and other cash equivalents. So basically the same as USDC and USDT that we already have. Initially, USD1 tokens will be minted on Ethereum and Binance Smart Chain. This is probably one of the reasons why BNB token has been holding up pretty well. And that is all fine. But this is where things get dodgy. So USD1 provides what algorithmic and anonymous crypto projects cannot: access, the keyword access, to the power of DeFi underpinned by the credibility and safeguards of the most respected names in traditional finance. So now they are basically bridging the gap between crypto and traditional finance, and the person who said it is Zach Witkoff, WLFI co-founder. And I want to just briefly talk about Zach Witkoff because he is the son of Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, who is currently negotiating peace between Russia and USA and between, mostly between Putin and Trump. But Zach Witkoff is the son of Steve Witkoff. So that's an important point because Witkoffs are very tight with the Trump family. And they are offering, get this, digital dollar stablecoin. So when Donald Trump said that he will never ever create a CBDC, a central bank digital currency, it feels like Zach Witkoff here is completely saying the complete opposite. That instead of a government-owned CBDC, they will have a privately owned CBDC called USD1. And this is where I'm hopeful, but I'm also very terrified. Because as we read on here, this will basically bring significant advancement in institutional ready digital assets, said the BitGo CEO, who is basically responsible for holding the reserve assets for USD1. And this will be the future of decentralized finance. So traditional finance will be the future of decentralized finance. Make it make sense, it does not. So here's my point. This is obviously good in the short term. We get traditional finance liquidity into crypto, but this gives massive leverage to Donald J. Trump, because if as president he is able to basically bend the regulation in the form where USD1 will be de facto standard for all stablecoin transactions, he's basically able to ban his competition out of the game or force his competition to comply with the USD1 token standard. And at the same time, he's basically creating a new central bank, which is privately owned inside crypto. And the owners are Witkoffs and the Trump family. And as we know, what's going on with Palestine, with Israel, these people, Witkovs, they are Jews. They are supporting Israel 100%. And from the action that Trump has taken, we see completely what he plans to do, which seems to be total dominance over whatever is going on in the world. He wants minerals from Ukraine, and he was basically trying to reel everybody into this massive new plan here. And they want their own digital dollar, and Donald Trump is basically privately owning the digital dollar that he regulates as president. So after his presidency ends, he basically wants to already have the massive lead on everybody else. And as you see decentralized finance protocols pop up, if the USD1 has massive market share, you will understand that the Donald Trump is able to enforce the crypto platforms to follow whatever rule he sets up without changing any laws, simply by telling those crypto platforms, if you don't comply, then you will not get the liquidity from traditional finance. You will not get the liquidity of USD1 stablecoin project. So he's able to basically strong arm all of the crypto projects into submission. And we are already seeing that happening, obviously. We're not seeing it with decentralized finance, but take a look at this one. This is Chris Marszalek, who is the CEO of Crypto.com. He just now announced a partnership with Donald Trump. So when we go and take a look at this announcement, it was announced already. This is basically the short screenshot here. So Trump Media and Technology Group, DJT, they are partnering up with Crypto.com. And what this partnership allows Crypto.com to do is they will basically create a basket of ETFs incorporating Bitcoin, CRO, and other crypto assets. And Crypto.com basically will be the custodian for these assets. And basically, what it allows Donald Trump to do is that he basically has complete final say in the dealings with crypto.com through this partnership. So Donald Trump is getting massively wealthy as president because he's able to enforce all of these companies to be partnered up with his own companies. And when they are partnering up together, you can see that this is basically creating a monopoly over the whole of crypto. So this is the danger that we're currently facing, is that we're seeing massive centralization in the name of decentralization. So this is making me scared. Now, maybe the plans that the Witkovs and the Trump family have, maybe it will benefit the world. Maybe it will create a new utopia, and everybody will have more liberty, more freedom, more of these good things. But at the same time, you know what happens to Trump's enemies. We've seen it with Palestine. We've seen it with Yemen, and we're now seeing it with Iran, and even how Trump has handled Ukraine, obviously. So if he has that ultimate power, you can pretty much bet that if he doesn't like you, you will be strong armed into basically into a very small corner of crypto. So this is the fear. Now I'm not gonna spend more time on this. I think I laid my case. So let me show you the other news, and then I will wrap up at the end of the video with the technical analysis. So publicly traded company KULR has bought 56 Bitcoin worth $5 million in its Bitcoin treasury strategy. So this is nice. We're seeing more adoption of Bitcoin as a treasury asset. And then Michael Saylor has just acquired almost 7,000 more Bitcoin, basically $584 million. So this strategy that I have been very critical about, it is still working. And one more idea I had when I shared the strategy that this will eventually basically collapse, because he is promising yield that he's not able to generate. Now, the only way how this can be sustainable is if he can generate yield with the Bitcoin assets that he holds. So basically loaning out Bitcoin. If he can generate yield with Bitcoin, then his strategy basically will be sustainable again. So that is a hope that this will not create a massive fundamental risk to Bitcoin price, obviously. So if he can generate yield with Bitcoin, then it's good. As of now, that is not the case yet. So the fears basically still stand, but I'm just laying it out there that it may not be as bad if he can find how to make yield with Bitcoin. Then GameStop, this stock went up hundreds of times when people decided that this is massively shorted and people wanted to basically bet against the short, or so they basically just started to buy GameStop stock back in 2020 when everybody got the helicopter money, and it went into a massive bull run. And since then, the price has crashed, but the shorts are still open. So GameStop has now updated their investment policy to basically allow investing into Bitcoin. So if they also do the Bitcoin treasury strategy, you can bet that maybe some people will want to ape into GameStop again and create this massive bubble once again. So for these reasons, I do think that the bull run is still has ways to go. So this is good for our bubble here. Now, fundamentally speaking, when we take a look at ETF inflows, outflows, for the last week, we have basically only seen inflows, not a lot of inflows, but the institutional investors are basically accumulating Bitcoin once again. So this is nice to see. When we hop over to sentiment.net, there's something interesting here. So take a look at what happened to the amount of Bitcoin on exchange reserves just in the last few days since my last update. There was a massive scoop basically out of exchanges. So even though Bitcoin price has been surging, people have been buying Bitcoin on exchanges and taking it out of exchanges. So this is massively bullish, obviously, in the fundamental sense. Then when we take a look at Bitcoin funding rates, for whatever reason, I don't know if this can be real or not, but we're seeing massive negative funding on Bitcoin on exchanges. And usually when we see negative funding, that signals a local bottom or a reversal of the trend. And from my perspective, it looks more like a local bottom here. So when we see negative funding rates, that is usually very, very good because it basically incentivizes people to buy Bitcoin with leverage. So that is quite nice. Then we are seeing a change here in the trend of stablecoin market cap. So in the last few days, we've seen quite a bit of stablecoin mints here. So now we're looking at a total amount of $205.55 billion dollars in stablecoin market cap. So this is quite nice. Again, basically further showing us that the fundamentals for crypto is still intact and the bull market is likely to resume. Now, who basically sold at this market peak here is short-term holders. So we're only seeing a blip here on the orange line, which is wallets that have held Bitcoin for just over 90 days and less than 1 year. So basically short-term holders sold this top here, but not long-term holders. So this is very significant. And one more change here I want to mention at the bottom is when we take a look at these mega whales, whales that have held are holding 10,000 to 100,000 Bitcoins. You can see that they actually sold this top here. So these were the short-term buyers that basically bought the bottoms here around $80,000 and between $78,000. We see massive spikes here. So they have now sold the top. So this is basically just telling me that it is likely that we see one more push to the downside, and then the major players will basically scoop up the price once again. So market makers are trying to cause one more panic sell and then they are accumulating more Bitcoin. But as we see, these long-term buyers, MicroStrategy, publicly traded companies, they are acquiring Bitcoin. Even ETFs are acquiring Bitcoin. So this short-term downtrend that we are seeing is definitely looking like it's coming to an end, and we are headed for a bullish season. Now, in the short-term fundamentals, when we take a look at order book depth, there's a few insights that I want to talk about. First insight is that we are seeing quite a bit of sell pressure here at the top. So at $88,500, we saw a negative delta of $100 million within a 3% price move from that price point. So a lot of limit sell orders activated around this peak here. We saw another peak here, and we saw quite a bit of almost $84 million of sell pressure, which has caused this small downturn here. But the key insights here, in my opinion, is when we take a look at this low here, we started to see a lot of limit buy orders entering already at this peak, which is very, very significant, because when we take a look at when price was here last time around here, we actually saw negative sell pressure. I mean sell pressure, negative buy pressure. But that has basically flipped into buy pressure at this low around here. Another significant thing is that this buy pressure was more than we saw during this accumulation phase here when Bitcoin price was $84,000. So we saw more buy pressure in this local low here. And right now, even as the price started to go down, we saw the buyers basically immediately activate at roughly, what is this, $87,000. So the buy pressure is definitely on, and the market makers are trying to basically time this market top here, and they are expecting further downside, which may actually not come. And when we go and take a look at liquidation charts, you can see that more shorts are piling in on Bitcoin. And right now, the shorts basically end at roughly $90,000. This liquidity zone here is getting more bright, as you can see from the colors. $500 million, $400 million, all the way down to $200 million here. But also, when we go and take a look at the prices here at $81,000, you are seeing basically longs, which would get liquidated $800 million at this price point here. So even though people are longing Bitcoin, a lot of people are also shorting Bitcoin. And when I go and take a look at the price here, what I'm expecting is basically simply the same that I already showed you guys, is that we go up here to this line top here, then we go and crash the market one more time to basically $84,500. This line is actually not accurate. And the reason why I think we will go to $84,500 is when we go and take a look at Bitcoin futures. And when we take a look at Bitcoin futures, you are seeing this CME gap here. And the low here is basically $84,200, $84,300. So, no, actually, this is a little bit higher. $84,300 roughly, or $400. This is roughly the CME gap. So this is what the market makers are expecting, is for Bitcoin price to go basically back to this 85,000, 84,000 price range here. This is where a lot of liquidations will happen, and also this is the CME gap. Now, if we go all the way down to $80,000 and liquidate all of those longs that are currently accumulating over here with leverage, I would not be super surprised even if we go to that low there. But I do expect that this $76,800, I think this is basically the bottom already, and we will not break another low here anymore. That's what I'm expecting. Now, a lot of things could happen because next month is April, and on April 2nd, the reciprocal tariffs go into play, and that could cause a market-wide panic as markets adjust and companies have to adjust to the new reality. But maybe it will not create a massive panic. And once that panic basically subsided by basically the middle of April, that's when I expect the markets to actually recover and start to trend to the upside. So until basically the middle of April, once we get out of here, if I would draw this line further, maybe we go to like $94,000 here. and then try to break these lows once again. I don't know, and then continue to the upside. That's kind of what I'm expecting, is just mostly sideways action until the middle of April. And from there, we finally start building the momentum to the upside. So right now, if you are accumulating assets, I think that is a very solid plan. But don't be surprised if we go to $84,000 or even $80,000, which is this previous low here. That could still very well happen and liquidate those longs. And by mid-April, we will resume the bull market. That's my expectation. So anyway, that's it for this market update or crypto update. I hope you got a lot of value out of this one. And as you know, I'm sponsored by Bybit. There's a link in the pinned comment below. Use the code denome. You will get 10% discount for your first 30 days, and you are eligible for up to $30,000 in welcome rewards. And if you like this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video for other people to also get into the market. Thank you for watching this one, and bye bye.